I'm Kaye, Sera, and just in case you're wondering whether this is girl talk or not, of course it's not. I'm afraid Lindsay and Remy were last seen walking down Collins Street chasing some rather yummy people. More about that later. down to business. That's got to be the worst intro I think I've ever done. I would like to welcome to the Big Fat Arts show tonight Madeleine, Swain and Gillian Bartlett.
Hello, Kaye.
Oh, no stranger really to Bent TV. Both of you have a little bit of a history on our cameras.
Yes, that's true.
Gillian's more recent than me, though, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but you're involved in this wonderful play, Gertrude Stein and a Companion.
She's the companion.
Is that like it's obviously a two-hander?
Two-hander, written by Win Wells about, when was it? About 10 years ago or something, or longer than that?
I think it was last performed in Australia 10 years ago, so I guess it must be a bit older than that.
Is it an English play?
American. It's written by an American writer who's since died. But it's all about Gertrude Stein and Alice Bitoclos, who of course were companions for over 40 years.
Long time.
But it doesn't take that long to play, does it? It's only a short play.
Short play's a good play, we think.
We reckon.
Yeah, short and sweet.
But it's actually very interesting for Gillian and I because we met at drama school many, many years ago. And
I've just made the connection because you're both English. Extraordinary.
But in all those years, we've never actually acted together, have we?
That's true.
And some may say that was a good thing when they see us, but we'll see.
Did you go to the same drama school?
Same drama school, that's where we met.
What was the drama school?
It's called Drama Studio in Ealing in London.
Oh, right.
Marvellous establishment.
Oh, that's one of those radical ones, I think, isn't it?
Well,
is that the lefty one where they have everyone's running around naked for the first term?
Well, no, that was Madeleine, actually.
Clearly I'm thinking about alternative education.
I just did that for the fun of it. No, it was actually quite a traditional one, except it was one of those where everybody was taught that, you are a business and you have to stand on your own 2 feet. But I think the only famous people that have come out of it are Forrest Whitaker.
That's right, but he didn't go to the English school anyway,
No,
he went to the American one.
And Emily Watson. She's famous now.
Well, Peter Howard's quite famous, isn't he?
Is it?
He's quite famous.
Oh yes, he's a director now. Did he go to our school?
Yes, about 10 years before us.
But Emily Watson did Breaking the Waves and got nominated for an Oscar, so that she was good.
Oh, that's quite famous.
So that was our school.
Tell me a little about it. What do we know of Gertrude Stein, just for our viewers who may not be aware of the illustrious history?
She had very short hair.
Yes,
she
liked
wrote
cigars.
poetry.
Yes.
Cigars? I don't know if she smoked
No,
cigars.
she wasn't a cigar smoker.
No.
But Alice smoked. But she, one of the most interesting things about Gertrude was not only that she was a writer and wrote books and poems and erotica, although you wouldn't know unless you read it, but she was also a great, one of the people that really discovered modern art. It was her that sort of gave Picasso to the world in many ways, and Matisse and Cézanne and all these great painters, she collected them before it was popular. So her walls in Paris were covered with a fantastic collection of modern art.
And she had a very famous salon where all these artists would go and eat and discuss, and she just had like hundreds of their paintings.
That's right. She was actually quite experimental with her writing as well. She
yes.
explored the narrative. And did she actually get into cut-up at all? Was that Gertrude Stein?
Into which?
Cutting up the text and putting it together?
I should imagine. I don't know if that's the term she would use, but yes, her writing was
quite experimental.
Repetitive and experimental and filled with sort of hidden meanings and stuff. So,
Let me just say, I don't understand a word of it.
No, we have to get down to business here. This is a very loose interview, but I'm enjoying the discussion. Now, who's playing whom? Is it,
well, Alice Bitoclos was small and bird-like, so naturally Gillian...
I'm playing that, and obviously I've got the moustache for it as well, so I got the part.
And I'm playing Gertrude because she had very short hair.
So how does that work for you all? Because obviously they're both lesbians. Gertrude Stein and Alice Bitoclos. We said the L word.
Well, Gertrude was. I'm not sure about Alice.
We don't say that in the play, do we? Don't touch on that. Yes.
But does the writing resonate on that level for you all? Do you kind of find parallel experiences?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for us personally?
For performers, for actors to sort of indulge yourselves in this homoerotic text?
No.
There's no homoeroticism?
No.
You can read into it. Yes, of course, there's lots of sex, so please come along and see us.
And nudity. Just with her, though. But I mean, well, it was an extraordinary relationship, and they adored each other, and there was a complete relationship in every way, shape, and form. But
if she looks disgusted, it's just because she's English.
Yes, that's right.
They don't like sex,
and also because of the moustache. But as Gertrude says to Alice, "I love you in every possible way," and the poem. There's a very famous poem called "Lifting Belly," which is a whole book, and that's one poem about having sex with Alice. So I think we know what they were up to.
It must have been something to write about.
Yes. They had a fantastic time.
Alice was also published, I think, after Gertrude Stein had died. She published, her cooking recipes?
That's right. She wrote a cookbook. Not to be outdone, of course. She wrote poems as well, but you're not a big fan of Alice's
writing,
writing, are you?
The two fat ladies.
Yes, except she was very small. But she, of course, the most famous book from Gertrude Stein was called The Autobiography of Alice B. Toklas, written by Gertrude, because Alice said, "Oh no, I can't write. You write it." So Gertrude wrote Alice's autobiography. But then after Gertrude died, and Alice lived on to a grand old age, didn't she? She died
nearly 90,
as we say many times in the play. Then after Gertrude died, she did finally write her own memoirs, and frankly, I think sticking to cooking would have probably been a good idea.
Do you think Alice lived in Gertrude's shadow? I imagine Gertrude Stein was quite a dominant, quite a strong character to be.
To begin with, perhaps, but I think that Alice did actually manage Gertrude. And when they did tours, etc., it was Alice that arranged it all and made the meetings, sacked and hired people. So Alice came into her own, I think, a bit later on.
And she was very dry and very tart, wasn't she?
No, that was nice.
But she would be in the back of the room, and she would sort of just slip out a little bon mot or a little epithet every so often and put somebody firmly in their place. And so they had a very symbiotic relationship, really, didn't they?
They
for
did.
many years.
Yeah.
And a lot of some of Gertrude's friends couldn't bear Alice, but others, like Picasso, loved her. So
This is a production from Outcast Theatre as well. Can you fill us in a little bit about Outcast?
Well, they've been on a few years, and they sort of do readings quite regularly. And since Stephen Dawson joined, he's been with them quite a while, they've done a few of his plays, and this one is actually directed by Stephen. But he didn't write it, it was Win Wells.
Okay.
So
that's an interesting choice, is it? Stephen Dawson's a gay man. I've just outed him on this programme.
Well, I wonder whether it's because Stephen's done a lot of plays just purely for men, and he's probably got a fair amount of criticism for that, I don't mind saying, Stephen, so perhaps that's why he's chosen to direct a play with two women.
The title of one of his plays is Big Dicks on Stage, in fact.
Exactly, so sometimes I think, maybe it's time for a little blast from the girlies.
So the girls come on, get them out of the way and go back to the boys again.
Yeah. Have you started rehearsal?
Oh, we have.
How's it going?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's fun. It's actually fun, isn't it?
Yes.
Pet.
Yeah. We decided.
And I believe you're going to actually do a little piece from the play.
Well, we can.
How long does it go for?
Just about an hour and a half. No, it's longer. It's much shorter than that. But there's a little bit in the middle which will just give you a little taste of what it's like.
Do you want to do that now? Are you going to do it seated?
Sure, if that's convenient for you.
Yeah, this is a small piece from Gertrude Stein and a companion.
Ernest came one evening. He had been to Maxime's. He had had one of his good reviews for one of his not-so-good books, and he was feeling famous.
Which is not the same as being famous.
So he had been to Maxime's. They came to 27 Rue de Fleurus, and Ernest was angry. He often was. Jesus H. Christ, we've been to Maxime's, and I am furious. They didn't recognize me at Maxime's. They kept us standing behind a velvet rope thing until finally I had to tell them who we were.
And who were you?
Alice said that Ernest was one of those who underwhelmed her. And there seemed to be, sometimes, between Alice and those who would be between Alice and me, sometimes a very great problem. But she could be fire and fury, and never seemed to be fire, and never seemed to be furious. Mabel Dodge, the very rich Mabel Dodge, who never could decide on anything, really did decide, almost from the beginning, that she did not care for Alice. Alice is slight and dark, with angry gray eyes and black lashes and a drooping melancholy nose, and her ears droop under drooping oriental jewelry, and her person is hung about with drooping barbaric chains and jewels. She just drooped. And many years later, after she'd come to that decision, she asked Alice, "And when am I to see Gertrude?" And Alice told her,
"I don't think you are to see her."
And she didn't. Not again. Not ever. Mabel didn't like Alice's boutique dresses. She said they made her look like someone out of the Old Testament. And Alice told her,
Who from the Old Testament do you know, Mabel? Know intimately enough to compare their habits with those of mine? Who?
Asked Alice.
God?
It was delicious. Alice was delicious.
No, I'll give you, Mabel. You probably are old enough, God knows.
Wow.
So I play lots of parts.
Yes.
But it's all sort of Gertrude and Alice playing lots of parts. I talked a lot in that bit, but she talks a lot more other times.
Later, yeah. Gertrude Stein has she's a very gutsy lady.
Oh, I thought you meant fat. She is fat. She's a bit chunky too, which is why I've been cast. But I'm going to be padded even further. Yes, she was very gutsy.
She was a gutsy lady.
And very attractive. People flocked to them, didn't they?
Yes, Ernest Hemingway fancied the pants off her, I think.
Weird guy. Yeah. But yeah.
Thank you for that. It seems very, very interesting.
Stop frowning, Kaye. You're like making you look worried.
The sincerity.
I'm just sort of concerned about the direction. Now, we need to say, of course, that it is at the David Williamson's Theatre. It's in Paran. It opens on the 24th of November and plays through to the 19th of December. Now, do I have any more? Is that long? How many weeks is that?
Yes,
2
it is.
weeks?
Nearly 4 weeks.
Yes.
And
it may extend even if people come.
Yes, I was thinking perhaps you should bring it back for Midsummer.
Possibly. See how it goes. It might be a huge disaster, of course.
We've got about a minute to go, and I thought we'd just indulge ourselves with where you're... Because I know, Madeleine, you're working at the ABC at the moment. Still?
Yes, well, I have been. My last show went to air last week, and
That was Express?
Express, that's right. But it's all a bit of a state of flux at the moment. I don't know whether I shall be involved next year or not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right, you know. I've been there 2 years, and for sort of somebody who comes from acting, that's a lifetime, isn't it, really?
A job for 2 years.
Yeah.
And
Some of them seem like 2 years.
Yeah. And Gillian, you've been doing work on Joy Melbourne, but also here on Squeal with Bent TV. Is there
Yes,
anything
some
else in the
call it
pipeline for you? How about your singing career?
Oh, well, I have started singing again after losing my voice last year.
When did you leave it?
It turned up in lost property at Paddington Station. But,
Paddington?
It's Australia. We're in Australia now.
well, I was very pleased to get it then. But yeah, I'm sort of negotiating a bit of a deal with an Italian record company, which is highly unlikely, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh, I hope that goes well for you. Thank you ever so much for coming into Big Fat Arts.
You're
I had
more
a
than
great
welcome.
time. I think that's probably the first piece of live performance we've actually had on Big Fat Arts. Thank you. Go and see it. Gertrude Stein and a companion at the David Williamson's Theatre.
Very good.